program Know Your Rights, and this is Women Empowerment and Legal Aid, a non-governmental organization that defends the rights of women in Nigeria. This morning we'll be looking at a very sensitive topic that has become a vice in the society, and which I think many of us will need to know so many things about. And that topic is rape. Oh yes, almost every day now we get to hear about the issue of rape. Yes, it has become a vice in the society. Yes, on the daily basis we hear the stories of a little girl being raped or molested, even sometimes by her biological father or even stepfather. In the society we have different types of cases of rape. Yes, rape, like everybody knows, is a criminal offense. Oh yes, under the criminal code of Nigeria, which is applicable in the southern part of this country, the penal code, which is applicable in the northern part, and of course the criminal law of Lagos State. Of course, the general law, which we call VAP, which is the most recent law. VAP is Violence Against All Persons Prohibition Act. We call it VAP. Oh yes, all these laws prohibit rape, and of course the Constitution, because rape comes under degrading acts and torture. Oh yes. Now, what is the definition of rape? Rape, generally, everybody will say, is a non-consensual sexual intercourse. Oh yes, the criminal code defines rape as an act of sexual intercourse with a girl or a woman, just like the penal code and the criminal law of Lagos State. Yes, and generally everybody will say it is an act of sexual intercourse or sexual relation without a consent of the lady, the girl or the woman, or whichever case it may be, and usually often with an act of threat or force. But I want us to know today that rape has gone beyond that definition of sexual intercourse with a girl. In other words, in those days it was assumed that a man could not be raped. But now under VAP, under the new law, and of course by the consent and the expansion of human rights all over the world, the definition of rape has gone beyond penetration or sexual intercourse with a girl. Now, rape now is penetration. The definition of rape now, under the new law, VAP, is a penetration to any hole in the body of a person with any part of another person's body or with any object. Now listen to me. I am saying rape now is an act of penetration into any hole. That hole could be in your ear, could be in your mouth, could be the hole in your genital part. It could also be the hole in the anus. Any hole in your body, anybody that penetrates without your consent or with any form of force, either with any part of his body or her body, or any other object. In other words, you could commit rape by using either your hand, your leg, your finger, or any organ of your body. You could also commit rape by using any object, like sex object or any instrument, by using it on the hole or dropping it in a hole on the body of another person. Then number two, you should also remember now that a man could also be raped. So rape is not limited to a girl or to a woman. A boy could be raped. In other words, if there is penetration, either in the anus, in the ear, in the mouth, or any hole in any part of the body of a boy, either with your finger or any organ of your body or with another object, you are committing a rape on that boy, or you are committing a rape on that girl, or you are committing rape on that man or on that woman. Therefore, I want us to remember, therefore, today, that the concept of rape has been expanded and enlarged. So you are not looking at just penetration into the genital alone now. You are looking at penetration into any hole in the body of the other party without the consent of that person. And well, like I said, usually it's accompanied with threat or force or with deceit or manipulation. Yes, there is again what I want us to discuss this morning, and that is the act of statutory rape. Yes, statutory rape is the rape of a minor. In other words, if you commit a sexual intercourse, or you have a sex with a girl that is below 18, it is presumed that you have committed rape. Oh yes, ask me why. The reason is that rape is sexual intercourse without consent, and anybody below 18 is presumed not to have the mental capacity to give his or her consent. So when you are doing it with a minor, it is assumed that you are doing it without the consent of the person. Of course, either he or she presumably gave you his or her consent, it is assumed that she has or he has no capacity to give that consent. Therefore, you must be careful. If you want to have a sexual relationship with anybody under 18, you are committing an act of rape. We call this statutory rape. Again, I want us to discuss a very vital issue now, and that is spousal rape. It is difficult to believe that you can rape your spouse. Oh yes, I'm sure it is strange to many people. Yes, under the laws of even Nigeria, yes, this spousal rape was enacted. Well, it started from US in 1993, and that is when we began to expand the concept of human rights. Now we're talking about the third generation human rights, and we're looking at the reproductive rights of a woman, i.e. the right to decide who is your sex partner and when to have a sexual relation. And so the expansion of this led to what we call spousal rape. In other words, you can rape your wife. A man can rape his wife, and a woman can rape her husband. That is, if you are having a sexual relationship with your wife without her consent, yes, it is spousal rape now. Several years ago in Nigeria, it was considered that a man could not rape his wife. Oh yes, there was the case of Alausa versus Odusote. I think sometime in 1965. And they went to court. The man came home, he was drunk, and he forcefully had sexual relationship with his wife. And before having that sex, he had the wife beaten up and shaved the pubic hair of the woman. And the woman was battered and beaten, and he still had his way. So the woman went to court, the man was taken to court, and the court said, oh yes, he could just be prosecuted for assault, and that he could not be prosecuted for rape. And the reason the court gave there was that a man could not rape his wife. And why would it be that a man could not rape his wife? The concept there was that, okay, when you are getting married, you are submitting all your rights and the consent to sex at the point of getting married. But I want to let you know that that was then. It is no longer the position today. And so I want to sound a note of warning to men: do not forcefully have sexual relation with your wife. Or of course to women as well. Even at the point of starting it, if at any point in time the woman says no, you must stop it. Or the man says no, you must stop it. Oh yes, be that as it may, let me now discuss the one that is very, very terrible and very, very rampant in the society. And that is the rape of the minor, of course, and the rape of girls, the rape of ladies, and the rape of men that is very common in our society now. And I want to let you know that this is an offense, a crime, and under VAP, it is an offense that gives a minimum jail term of 12 years. But under the criminal code, it gives a maximum jail term of life imprisonment. Oh yes. But unfortunately, it has been discovered that many people do not report the cases of rape in the society. And why? It is assumed that when you report the case of rape, the society puts her eyes on you and it puts a form of stigma on you. But I want to let you know that it is not correct. Now, if cases of rape are not reported, people or potential offenders will not be deterred. So there must be consistent and diligent prosecution of cases of rape so as to serve as deterrent unto others that may want to do it in the future. And as a matter of fact, there is a register now at the Ministry of Justice where we have the names and the identity. The identity of any man or any woman that is convicted for rape is written. So that for future reference, you could just go to the register and see who has committed rape sometimes. Oh yes, it is also a very terrible thing and a difficult thing that we have been contending with in prosecuting the cases of rape, that usually it is difficult to get conviction. Yes, and because it has been very difficult for us, those of us who have been working in this area of getting prosecution of offenders, we have found it very difficult to get convictions on several occasions. Now, first, we have discovered that, number one, the cases of rape do not get reported. People keep quiet. They are afraid. They don't want the stigma. Number two, even when the cases are reported, after some time, the family members will say, please, let's settle it out of court. I want to please remind you, it is terrible and it is bad to say you want to settle a case of rape out of court. Because a case of rape is not just an offense against the victim, it is an offense against society and against humanity. And so it is very bad to accept to settle a case of rape out of court. And this is what we always see on the field. Yes, after some time, you see family members coming to say, lawyer, please, we don't want to prosecute this case again. We want to withdraw. He has come to beg us. Please, I want us to remember, do not accept to settle cases of rape out of court. Yes, number three, it is very hectic to get to get conviction of cases of rape, again because of the technicalities involved. Yes, in those days, it used to be that there is the need to get corroboration. That is the practice and procedure in the court, that there is the need to get the corroboration of the evidence of a victim by a third party. And I'm sure you will agree with me that the cases of rape are usually committed in secrecy, in such a position, such a case that it will be difficult to get a third party to corroborate. And so many cases fail on this issue of rule of practice. Of course, this has also been expunged from our law because it has been discovered that cases of rape are not just like dinner parties that you invite people to come and witness. And so we say this has formed so much problem. It has caused so much problems in prosecuting cases of rape, and it has also been expunged from our law. Oh yes, we have also noted that before we get to the level of talking in court, usually evidences would have been destroyed from the onset. And so the evidence, the clinical evidence that we need, which is very, very important in the law court, is usually destroyed at the point of commission. Now, what do I mean? When an offense of rape is committed, please, I want to remind you, the underpants of the victim is very important, because the deposit on the underpants will be part of the evidence that we need, the clinical evidence that we need to trace to the offender. And so we always advise whoever unfortunately gets herself or himself again in that position to please do not take your bath. Do not wash your underpants. Make sure you go straight to the hospital. There are many hospitals that will attend to you free of charge now. There is the Mirabel Center in the General Hospital in Kenya. They will do it without collecting money from you. It's free of charge. Get there and make sure that you conduct your medical test on your pants. Put the pants, the underpants, and the dresses you are wearing at the time of commission. They are primary evidence that will be needed. And of course, thereafter, you can now do your medical test and see whether you have not contacted any venereal disease. If the person has contacted any venereal disease, well, there at the hospital, he or she will also be treated. But make sure that the pants are kept, because the deposit on the pants are part of the clinical evidence that will be used for prosecution. So many cases often fail at this point because many people rush to have their bath even before reporting the case. And because there is no evidence, nothing will be used to trace the incident to the offender. Then again, most of these cases of rape are always destroyed at the police station. Yes, because our police too, and I think they need to be trained. The Human Rights Department and the police stations need to be trained on how to get evidences from witnesses and from victims, of course, in cases of rape, because it's a very technical case, a very technical point that they need to look at how and what happened, so that it could be linked and traced to the victim, or from the victim to the offender. And so many times we have discovered, especially when an underage is involved. There was a case of an underage that was being molested and, of course, raped several times by the stepfather. And do you know that at the police station, a girl that was 7, the police collected at different times, very different evidences from her. So the statement, there were about 5 statements, contradictory statements from a little girl. Of course, you will agree with me that a little girl will not have the mental capacity to relate the story as it came at different times, for 7 different times. And so when there are inconsistencies, when we discover inconsistencies in the statement of the victim, it becomes a problem during prosecution. So these are the problems we always have in cases of rape. And so we want to therefore ask people to please make sure that you stick to the truth, and when you are giving your evidence to the police when during investigation, make sure that you are consistent in the story you tell. Again, I want us to remember that a case of rape, like I said earlier, is a case against the society. And that is why usually we say the state versus so, or COP versus so, because you are not committing rape just against the victim, but against the society. And so I want to please implore you, number one, make sure that you make your statement very consistent when you get to the police station, and so that you will not have inconsistencies in your story. Number 2, make sure you do not wash your underpants if unfortunately you become a victim, so that you can get enough evidence when you get to court. Number 3, make sure you do not settle your case out of court, because you will be doing the society a disservice, and you will not be able to deter future offenders. And number 4, please make sure that you keep your girls' children. Oh yes, I need to talk about this. Yes, and I'm talking to parents now. Now, we have noticed that cases of rape have become so rampant. Oh, we hear of cases of rape every day in newspapers and the media, even around your house, on your streets. Very terrible cases. And we begin to wonder why. Yes, I do not want to say that the cases of rape have increased because of the increase in the vices and the moral laxity in the society. It may not be unconnected with that. Number two, it may also not be unconnected with the problems of the society, the violence that is ongoing in the society. And of course, it also may not be unconnected with financial problems in the society. But I want to please implore parents that in taking care of our children, we must let them understand the risk of getting them too close to the other party. I mean, when I say the other party, that is the man or the woman that is in the house or in the office or on your street, or is becoming very close to them of another sex. So for you have a little girl, it will be very, very bad to continue to send your little girl to go and give or go and help an uncle, quoted and unquote, go and give this to your uncle. Yeah, there was the story of a girl, a 14-year-old girl that was raped, and of course she eventually got pregnant. How did it happen? The mother was always sending her to go and put something in the refrigerator of a co-tenant who was a man. And in the process, the girl began to get close to the man, and she was raped several times and impregnated. So we have to be careful who and where we send our children to. We also have to be careful about who and where and who you leave your children. Do not put the care or leave the care of your children into the hand of a neighbor or even your distant cousin that is living with you, who is of another sex. That again may be very dangerous to the child. Yes, and if you are not close to your child, unfortunately you will not be able to know when she is passing through these terrible times. There are people we call our cousins, our uncles, they live with us in the house and they are molesting our children, especially for mothers who are working mothers, working parents. Please, I want to beg you, do not leave the care of your children solely into the hand of a stranger, not just a stranger, into the hand of somebody of another sex. It is very dangerous. Do not allow that cousin that lives with you to go and bait for her. Do not allow any man to put your child on his lap. These are things and where molestation of children begin to arise. And before you know what is happening, they begin to put their hands to where they are not supposed to. And please put it in the ears of your children and in their minds that every part of their body is private, especially girls. Do not say, yes, do not put your hand in my private part. Every part of the body of a girl child is private. Your ear, inside your ear is private. Your mouth is private to you. So do not let anybody touch any part of your body anyhow, because every part of your body is private to you. And so you must be careful in the way you allow people to touch your daughter or to touch your girls in the house or when you are not even around. Of course, we have had issues of stepfathers raping and assaulting their stepchildren. So do not say because, okay, this is the stepfather, nothing can know. Please be careful even the way you leave your little girl in the care of the stepfather. Oh yes, there are occasions again, perhaps I should also mention this, we have had cases of people coming to tell us, okay, I have a problem, I'm in a dilemma. They have discovered that their husbands have been molesting their little girls. But unfortunately, they do not want to speak out, because when they speak out, it's either the man sends them out of the house or the society puts its eyes on them, and so they begin to say, where do I go? And that is the reason why you have to economically empower yourself, so that you will not be so dependent on that man to the extent of not being able to speak out when a terrible ill advice is going on in your family. And I want to please remind you, the solution to that problem you are passing through is in your speaking out. And so when you are undergoing any act of molestation, any act of violence in your home, or sexual harassment, or you notice a sexual harassment case going on around you, on a girl in your society, you will be a good neighbor. You will be the keeper of your brother, a very good keeper of your brother, if you can please speak out. There are many human rights organizations out in town that you can just walk up to and make a complaint of violation of your human rights. Our own organization, Women Empowerment and Legal Aid, is always available to listen to cases of violation of human rights, and we always redress such cases for you. And please remember, our office is open to whoever has a complaint of violation of human rights at any time. And you can walk up to our office at number 25 Adekunle Fajuyiwe, GRA, Ikeja. And please do not forget, you must speak out. Our telephone number is 07055802420. And I call it again, 07055802420. You can pick up your phone and call us. You can also reach us on Instagram, on Facebook. Oh yes, you can also just open up and come to our website. We're also everywhere. Our presence is on all social media, even on YouTube. You can please get in touch with us. Remember, you will not get any help if you do not speak out. Do not die in silence. Please, I want to remind you, sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Notice any issue of violation of your human rights, sọ̀rọ̀ sókè. Thank you very much. I want to wish you a wonderful day in that your place of work. And remember, human rights is your property. And so, protect the rights of your neighbor. Thank you. Enjoy your day. And God bless you.